Hello, joining me on Star Trek Fleet Command today. So, what we're going to be discussing today is the Vidar, how to tier up the Vidar, how to sort of work around the Vidar, including the crew layout and stuff like that as well. A few things that we're going to cover with the Vidar is crew layout, ship, upgrades, and what systems that you should probably be going to rank your ship up and to get your in-air nanoprobes that you're going to need for the refinery and I'll show you all that in a second. So the crew layout that I have currently, which seems to be working relatively well, bearing in mind these are not maxed officers, they're I think only like tier 2 or tier 3, I think some of them. So the crew layout that I've been going with is this layout. So you've got 9 of 10 set as the commander. The reason for that is because if you click here ability, you have a 10% chance or 10% reduces the critical hit chance by 10% of the opponent's ship. If you actually click on a Borg probe, the Borg probes themselves have a 30% chance of dealing critical damage. So if you can reduce that as much as possible, then that is highly recommended. If you can, like I say, if you can get that down to from obviously to 30%, get that down to 20%. Obviously, every one it's basically 1 in 5 shots instead of 1 in 3 shots, which is obviously more beneficial to you and your survivability. And then we got the usual Talan and Chen. The reason we're going for that because the Borg probes are battleships, so they do have kinetic and they do have an energy weapon. So if you have both Talan and Chen, you will obviously get a reduction in terms of their abilities. So energy weapons will obviously hit 20% less and 15% less with Talan, so you will get a reduction there, and then obviously you just then have to deal as much damage as you can. So sort of rig the bottom out to be damage and health if possible, just because the health on the ship is pretty abysmal. So mine's rigged out for quite even. To be fair, it's actually quite an even layout, so it's not too bad. Yeah, if you want to get the synergy, obviously you can use obviously 8 to 10 or recommended if you use 7 or 10. The best actual one that I've seen personally is probably using 7 or 10 with the two, with 8 to 10, 9 to 10 either side. I don't have 7 or 10, so I'm stuck with this layout for the time being, which seems to be working. I seem to be getting about in the region of about 10,000, maybe a little bit more now because I have upgraded it since last time I did the probes. So I was getting about 10, just over 10,000 in-air nanoprobes per like sort of session as such, or per like attacking a session. But you can get obviously the synergy bonus. Like if we take Talan out there, for example, confirm you. Nope, go back in. So if you then go obviously onto her abilities, so you've got 20% chance to reduce it now. So when fighting Borg, 9 to 10 decreases the chance of dealing a critical hit of the opponent by 20% now. So they're only going to hit you now so they only have now a 10% chance to hit you. So that's now reduced it from 1 in 5 shots to now 1 in 10 shots. They're not going to get that far. So like most of the rounds that you're going to go against, because you're going to go against probably level 25 nano Borg probes, most of the ones that you're going to go against there are not going to be able to hit you that hard, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. However, now 8 to 10 is not too bad because you do get his attack bonus as well, which increases that quite a lot. So I think we're going to run with this crew actually. I haven't actually tried this. Have I tried this? I might have tried this crew. So we'll run with this crew, see how that works for the future. Obviously, you can swap these around. So all this does though is when fighting the Borg, 8 to 10 increases the chance of dealing a critical hit by 10%. So that's you physically dealing a critical hit. However, I would stick to the 9 to 10 layout just because I personally think she is a better all-round officer in terms of her abilities against the probes only. So just bear that in mind. And then so if we go to the galactic map, so you got a cluster of 25s here. If you want to attack the 25s, I would recommend going after the 25s. The reason I'm going to go there actually, the reason I would recommend going for the 25s is because if we go to the system, so most of the 25s, well, all the 25s, strength is 1.4 million, which I wouldn't worry about too much. Don't read into that too much because you have the DAR when obviously you use the cybernetic augmentation. So you get a 28,750% increase. So in terms of your damage, yeah, you're gonna wipe the floor with them. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. So obviously, if you can increase your damage output, then that will obviously compound with that percentage increase as well. So it's pretty good. The only thing that I would suggest you do is look at these rewards. So when you click on it, scout it out, and then click rewards. As you can see, this one has 171 in-air nanoprobes on board, which is a really, really good one for this type of system. Whereas, let's see if we can find a crap one. That's all right as well. That's okay as well. So that's a little bit worse. 139, 142. Personally, I don't go for anything under 145 in this type of system. 145, bloody hell, they are actually pretty good. There you go, 129, so that's probably the lowest you're going to get, roughly. I think the lowest I've ever seen is 123, roughly. And then the highest I've ever seen is probably that one, about 175, about 171, 175. So just bear that in mind. So when you do obviously attack these, try and look for the nanoprobes. It's a bit of a pain in the butt because obviously loads of other people are doing the same thing. So just bear that in mind. Try and be quite quick when you're doing it. Alternatively, obviously you can go to other systems. If you're going to come to this 26, 27 cluster, I would just completely ignore the 26s. The reason I would ignore the 26s is because they're 2.3 million. However, so they have 2, 3, 4, about 230s. But I think the highest is about 260. I've seen. But that personally, to me, isn't worth it. The reason I say it's not worth it is because that's £1 million more than what you've just gone against at 25s, but you're not actually increasing the amount of nanoprobes you get that much. So at most, you're going to get probably about 90 to 8, about 70 to 60 to 90 sort of increase. Whereas if you go to the 27s, which I personally would go to, not the 26s, the reason I would go to the 27s because it's only 2.6, so you're actually only increasing by 1.2 million in terms of their overall strength. However, the actual rewards are a hell of a lot better, so you get like 300, and I wouldn't go for the 320s personally. I'd go for more 330, maybe more. I've seen there you go, 383. Try and aim for probably about 340 upwards when it comes to these ones. For 1.2 million power extra, that is actually really, really good bonus trade. So that's not too bad. So you obviously, as you can see, you're pretty much getting double and a half of what the 25s are giving you. But obviously, bearing in mind, these are obviously twice as powerful and a little bit more, twice and a tiny bit more powerful. So just bear that in mind. But once you get a ship sort of powerful enough, I think you can start taking these ones out at like 290 cave strength, as long as you've got obviously decent officers as well. Me personally, I can take these out no sweat, and when I say take them out, I mean I'm talking like when you can take a few of them out, not just like one or two. I wouldn't come to these systems if you're obviously really low and you're taking out maybe 1, 2, anything up to like 5, because you're just wasting your time. I'd personally just stay at the 25s. 25s are the best to grind at, so just bear that in mind. If you are wanting to get absolute tons and tons of nanoprobes, then I would personally go for the 25s. However, it becomes a really, really big ball ache because you've got to sit in this system for absolutely ages, clicking through them all, trying to find which ones to hit, which ones to get. You know what I mean? That's a good one, for example. So as you can see, we'll have a look. We'll attack this one, and then we'll have a look at the logs. I just want to show you the crew sort of stats and how it sort of the battles sort of pan out. Obviously, I'm quite a strong, well, I'm not quite a strong Vidar. I am a tier 4 Vidar, so just bear that in mind. But yeah, so we go to the crew stats. So this is the first one we just hit. Obviously, we lost a grand total of, what was that? So we lost 1k in terms of hull health, and we hardly lost any shields whatsoever. So we go to the actual battle itself. The reason you go for the energy is because obviously it's a battleship, so that's one of the reasons. And then as you can see, the pop, all the crew abilities. So you got Chen with the -20%. You got the Borg polarization activates, so that's -20 on the Borg critical chance. And then you got the 45 attack, and then the 45 defense percent increases. So straight away the massive increases to your ship. So then obviously the hostile attacks me, deals 1,654 damage, which is absolutely nothing. Yeah, so, and then I attack the Vidar. I attack with the Vidar, so this one. And obviously, as you can see, I deal 2.1 million damage. That's obviously because of the percentage increase that you get given from the actual ship itself. Obviously, that is all a mitigation. But obviously, straight away, one hit, I deplete the shields instantly from this. Obviously, this is obviously a 25 level ship. They attack again with 10,000 this time. So their second weapon obviously is a lot better because it's a kinetic weapon, the second one. So, and then you go into round 2, and then round 2 is where I finish it off again, 1.8 million shot, and then it kills off the ship itself. But as you can see, it took hardly absolutely any damage whatsoever. And then this one will be very, very similar as well. So battle log of that, I lost a couple more this time, so I lost like 2k health there. Well, it's probably not 2k, it's probably like 1.5 or something like that. Again, all them popping off. First hit, critical, 3.5 million damage. You know what I mean? So it definitely works by reducing their critical as well. It does help because, as you can see, if they can't get the critical off, they're not going to do that much damage to you overall. So just bear that in mind. The reason you want to reduce the critical chance is because if you go onto the Borg probes themselves, if you go down to go to attack, so you got critical chance 30%. Obviously, I've got a reduction to that by 20 by obviously having the crew layout that I've got. So that's only a 10% chance of actually doing critical, because obviously you don't want that critical damage being an extra 200%, because that's just not going to make your day any nicer. So that's why you reduce it. So instead, and because you're only lasting very, very little amount of rounds, you can get away with this because the likelihood of them hitting you, like I say, is 1 in 10 shots, and they're not going to ever get 10 shots off on you. So it's a really, really good crew to have and system to run. Obviously, once you get into the higher realms, you can obviously go to the higher systems, which are all up here. I've not been to any of these because there's no point, because my Vidar is not high enough. I have been to this one, that was just because of a mission. So level 30s, for example, if you're going to go against them, they are 4 million power. So you're probably looking at like a tier 6 Vidar, I would say. So or tier 5 or 6 Vidar, which is probably in the region of about 500 to 600k in terms of its overall strength. So just bear that in mind when obviously you are taking out the rebel or the Borg ships and stuff like that. But other than that, that is going to conclude today's video. I hope that was informative. I hope that helped everyone. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon which notifies you when a video does go up on the channel. Like I say, if you've watched the last video as well, please if you haven't, head over to it. If you have watched it, please leave your comments on that video. Anything that you do want to see, any hints, tips, any ships, layouts, crews, anything at all, even game mechanics, please leave the comments on that video or this video. I don't mind either. Also, check out the Discord. We need to start growing that, which would be very nice. And if you haven't subscribed already, which I already know there's at least 62 people watching the videos that haven't subscribed, because you are classed as unique viewers. Very welcome to the channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye for now.